Kyle, joined by my brother Keenan. Keenan, let's get right to it. This is kind of an emergency pod. We're going really quick. We're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, a.k.a. the Milwaukee Cucks. Man, what an embarrassing performance.
A.k.a. Milwaukee sucks.
You're right. All the puns we could do. Keenan, it's some time since that game, and I am still kind of in shock of what happened. This team, who won the championship in 2021, carried themselves like a team that not only never won the championship, but almost like a team that had never been in a big game before, period. Giannis specifically.
I've never seen anything like it.
Don't even get me started on Coach Bud, because my favorite, my favorite thing / my biggest pet peeve when it comes to whether it's the NFL, the NBA, is bad coaching. It's funny to watch, but then sometimes it's absolutely infuriating. And the other night falls under the infuriating category. But let's start before we get to Coach Bud, because I have plenty to say about him. Let's just get to the game in general. And I don't think we can talk about Game 5 without talking about Game 4, or even really the lead up to this, right? So they're down 3-1 mainly. I don't even want to say mainly because Giannis, because I do believe without Giannis, I think Milwaukee's a better team without Giannis, but I still think it's like an even matchup. You know what I mean? I think if Giannis never plays this series, it could be a 6 or 7 game series, right? That would be my thoughts immediately, right? Let alone a 5-game series. So Giannis gets injured the first quarter of Game 1.
I mean, we both came on here and basically said, like, no, there's no way they're losing Game 5. Like this, if Heat win, it's going to be in 6 after that Game 4. There was no way I thought this was even going to happen. But go on with what you're saying. I just had no.
To add to that, Keenan, I looked right before tip off. I was like, let me see what the line is, or what the money line is, just to see, because I'm so confident in the Bucks winning tonight. If they give me something, something close here, that's a great bet. No, Milwaukee was minus 800, an overwhelming favorite, so it wasn't even worth betting. So I'm like, all right. And, I was at work for some of this game, or I believe I was driving home. I can't remember, but I'm peeping in at the game, and I see it's pretty close. Anyway, but back to Game 1. Giannis out for 3/4 of the game. They lose. Jimmy Butler goes off. Whatever, kind of freakish Game 1. We know Miami's comfortable playing Milwaukee. They've beat them in a series before. Okay. Game 2, Milwaukee, I believe, is up by damn near 50 at one point.
Yeah,
damn near at least 40.
It was a rout.
Never close. Actually, the Heat kind of bring it back to respectability in the fourth quarter, but Bucks tie it up 1-1. Game 3, no Giannis. Okay, whatever. Miami wins Game 3 at home. Played with more energy. Blah, blah, blah. Game 4, Giannis comes back.
That makes sense.
Giannis comes back. I believe they're up double digits in the middle of the fourth quarter, much like Game 5. They cough it up. Terrible loss. They absolutely cough it up, and you're like, damn, that's not good, but I still believe.
Bad coaching there, too.
Bad coaching there, too, but you're like, what?
Jimmy was great. I mean, obviously, 56 is 56. That's like 7 off
Jimmy
of
cooked.
the record ever. We talked about that. Jimmy cooks at latest pod.
He was absolutely the best player on the court that game.
You've got to call timeout there. You've got to call timeout to stop that run. You can't just let them go. I understand that you're treating your team as if they're a veteran team, which they are, but at the same time, as a coach, you've got to know, okay, Jimmy is going nuclear right now. This Miami crowd is louder than it's probably been in like 3 years. Like, let's calm down, time out, cool down everything, and let's get going. No, we're just going to let it keep rolling, and then we're going to let the Heat go up 1.
Which even then, like, whatever. Like, I agree it wasn't the greatest, but you still think you can salvage it. And they end up losing. Whatever. Jimmy Butler went off. It was a bad loss. It really was. But even then, I think people were still like, we're at least getting 6 games here. I think everybody, even after that bad loss, was like, okay, Milwaukee's going to take care of business. And we'll at least get a Game 6 in Miami. And, we'll see how it goes from there. Yeah. And this game was kind of up and down, Game 5. It was close at some points. Milwaukee pulled away at some points. Bam Adebayo had a pretty good game. He actually played with touch around the basket. Jimmy started to get it
like
going really in the fourth quarter. Jimmy really started hooping. And then it got close. And Jimmy just kept coming. Pause. But Jimmy just kept coming at him. You know what I mean? He kept firing away. His shot kept falling more than it was the first 3 quarters. And then before you know it, it's a 1-possession game. And then Milwaukee looks kind of tight. They look kind of scared. They look kind of scared. And by the way, at this point, by the time Miami ties the game up with, I want to say, maybe 4 minutes left when it really becomes a 1-possession game, Milwaukee's only made 2 shots. And they didn't make another shot until about the 2-minute mark. Giannis had a terrible night from the line, which happens with Giannis. He's a slightly below average free throw shooter. He can range from terrible, that night he was terrible, to in the finals, as we've seen, he was great at one point in a closeout game, which makes this game even more of a conundrum because, like, how? Yeah. What we saw next within the last 2 minutes of this game was insane. So as I say, Jimmy Butler continues to rise as the best player to the point where he's just talking all kinds of shit to Drew Holiday, who I said would be my defensive player of the year, and he's torching him at some points.
James didn't care.
And then this is where we get to Giannis specifically and Coach Bud. All right? It becomes a nip-tuck game. Jimmy Butler, he's getting whatever jump shot he wants because on any screen they're just going under, which I get is their thing, especially with Brook Lopez. But at some point, specifically when they're down 2, I forget exactly what possession it was, where it was in the clock. This was later in the game, like probably the last minute. But there's a point where Miami's coming out of a timeout, down 2, they got the ball, and I'm saying to myself, Jimmy Butler's shooting a 3 here. He doesn't even want to go back to Miami. He's shooting a 3. And what happens? They set a screen on Brook Lopez, man. Brook Lopez drops, gives Jimmy Butler a 3. He pulls up. Luckily, they don't make it from Milwaukee. End up not mattering. But it's stuff like that where I'm sitting at home and I know Jimmy Butler's shooting a 3. And Coach Bud's got Brook Lopez in drop coverage again. And it's just shit like that where I'm like,
yeah,
how does this happen from a championship team? I'll let you chime in here before I keep going, because I could talk and talk and talk about this.
So, the series, as you said, you go through the entire series. Game 4, you got to win that game. But again, you can semi live with Game 4. Jimmy did have 56, but again, that's a game that you gave up. But you're now going home. 2 of the next 3 are at home. If you're thinking, obviously, from the Bucks mindset, you got to get to 7, of course. So 2 of the 3 are at home. This game it went exactly as I thought it was going to go through 3 quarters. And then the 4th in overtime just threw everything out the window.
Madness.
I was talking with coworkers at work, and I was like, there's no way the Bucks are going to lose this game. Miami's going to play them tough. Through 3 quarters, it's going to be a very tough game, but basically this is going to be a Bucks collective win. In Game 6, I feel if they're going to win, it's going to have to be a Giannis, Jason Tatum-esque, what I said, because obviously last year Giannis put up 44 and 20, but Jason Tatum said, I'm going to put up 46. The Celtics won that game in 6 in Milwaukee, then won the series. I thought he was going to have to do something like that because Jimmy was going to come with anything plus 35 easy. So that was my mentality. And through 3, it was great. So it's 102-86 after the 3rd, or a little bit into the 4th. But I'm going back and forth between that and the Warriors game. I have both of them on the computer, and I'm able to kind of sift through and watch both of them at the same time. Every time I felt like I was watching the Heat game throughout the second half, they were doing bad. And so I closed out of the game real quick because the Warriors-Kings was in a good spot. Then they started to come back. And so I tuned into the game again. Then the Bucks went back on a run. So I was like, can I not watch this game for the Heat to do well? So I clicked out of the game again, just watching the Warriors-Kings, obviously keeping tabs on the Heat game consistently. They come back, and it's now, I believe, a 4-point game with around 2 minutes. I'm like, I can't I can't help myself. I'm going to watch the rest of this game. My fandom and my superstitious fandom, I have to put that aside right now because I need to watch what is happening. And thank God I did, because what happened was Giannis choked. What is this? I've never
Looked
seen
like a choke,
someone
smelled
so
like a choke, was a choke.
I've never seen someone so scared in my entire life to get the ball. Like if you would have subbed me into that position fresh off the couch, I would not have been that scared to shoot 2 free throws. I promise you that. To shoot 2 free throws. Would I have made them? I'm not saying I would have made them just cold in that pressurized situation, whatever. I just wouldn't have been that scared to catch the ball and go to the line. I have no idea what Giannis was doing in his head. No idea, other than I can't. His presser afterwards, fine. I'm fine with his mindset going into it because you compartmentalize it. However, obviously you're going to get through the rest of the game too. But I do not know how that happened. I'm going to let you finish because then I want to go over the historical nature of what just happened in full. But you keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was as chaotic of an ending as I've ever seen to a game. I just want to say, like, I forget the exact amount. It might have even been up to the 2-minute mark. I don't know. But as I mentioned earlier, there was a point where the Bucks had only made 2 field goals. Like, Drew Holiday made a basket, I believe, with 8 minutes left in the fourth, and they went some time without one. And even still, I felt like they were just going to pull it out. You know, I hadn't got the feeling of they were tight yet. I just had that feeling of, they're having a bad quarter at the worst time, but I still think they got enough talent here. You know, and then that shit keeps getting tighter. Shit keeps getting thicker. Kevin Love fouls out on a 50-50 call.
Shout out to Jared Allen. I guess it would work for them too. Jared Allen said the lights were a little too bright for the Cavs. I guess that was the same thing for the once champion 2 years ago Milwaukee Bucks, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, the lights were clearly too bright for them. But yeah, Kevin Love fouls out on a 50-50 call. They get foul shots off that, and you're like, okay, that helps the Bucks. You know, Kevin Love played a great game for them. He was making threes, rebounding the ball.
He did.
Great role player stuff.
Yep.
Then Giannis keeps missing free throws. They keep missing easy shots. Man, I'm trying to get this chronologically all in order. Jimmy just keeps making shots, making threes left and right.
Okay,
they
so
eventually go down.
If you're going chronologically, we get to after that Kevin Love foul. You've got Gabe Vincent comes down. He hits. I was like, Gabe Vincent hits the 3, and then it's a 1-point game. Yeah, Gabe Vincent hits a 3. It's then a 1-point game, and then the foul occurs, and then Drew Holiday goes to the line. He misses the first. He makes the second. So then it's 2.1 left on the clock, or somewhere around there. On
you
the clock.
You completely skipped over the jump ball. Completely skipped over the jump ball there.
Yes, the jump ball. Yes,
jump ball. Wait, no, the jump ball was. Holiday. Jump ball. Led to the Drew Holiday.
The jump ball to the jump ball led to the Drew Holiday. My bad.
I feel like there was something else that I'm missing in between there. I think there's something else I'm missing in between there, but we'll get right to the jump ball, and you kind of already mentioned it. But yeah, jump ball happens. Already bizarre play. Jump ball for the season. Saw a similar situation of this in the Hawks Celtics game, Game 5. Where there was a crucial jump ball, and the Hawks, I don't know how they won this game after. I mean, we do, but, I mean, they let Rob Williams just get a wide-open dunk off a jump ball. It was pretty bad defensive communication, whatever. This one, Bucks are up, falls right to Giannis, and as you said, he immediately just says, get this ball the fuck away from me. And this was the funniest part. I was talking with Tim Gray about this. Shouts to Tim. This was the funniest part to me that made it even more chaotic. Giannis throws the ball. It just immediately gets rid of it. Like short arms it too. Just like that. Right? And then, so Middleton makes an incredible save on the ball. But the best part about this is for some reason,
essentially at the time.
For some reason, the camera's still on like the weird like jump ball angle instead of just the wide angle. So all you see is Middleton crash into the camera, and then we don't know what happens after that. And then the next thing we know, whistle's blown. Drew Holiday's going to the line. It's like, okay, all is right. And then, as you said, Drew Holiday misses one. He apparently couldn't handle the pressure. Makes the other. Heat down 2. And here's where it gets weird. Everything started getting weird right here. Inbounds play. For some reason, Coach Budenholzer does not have his tallest players on the inbound or near the rim even. So Jimmy gets a clean opportunity to go one-on-one. And to use a NFL reference here, I think Jimmy Butler got away with a clear offensive pass interference. I think that was very much an offensive
At first,
foul.
I thought it was when I watched it in
Two-hand
live
shove.
time, I thought he was the one that got hit, and that's why he fell over. But then actually watching the replay afterwards, I was like, he absolutely extended the arms and got away with an offensive pass interference. I'm good with it.
I'm
good with it.
Sure, yeah, I get it. The Bucks didn't do themselves any favors, but the more I look at it, the more obvious that is. It's not a Jordan push-off situation where, oh, his momentum's already going that way and I'm going to give him a nudge. This was really I've got position here. He's leaning, two-hand push-off. I don't know. The more I see it, the more I'm like, damn. But whatever. What happens after that? They tie the game. Incredible shot, and I didn't even blink at it because shit was getting stupid weird at that point. You know, they were choking. Well, just that, and it's the Heat. The Heat seem to be in these fucking situations. They somehow almost found their way in the finals last year after being down 10 with 2 minutes left in the Game 7 last year. Weird shit happens with Miami.
Yeah.
So then he makes the basket. 0.5 is left. We find out Coach Bud has a timeout that he doesn't use. Could have used that as an alley-oop opportunity for Giannis. That's what I would have used it for. Didn't do it.
Or a shot or anything. You can get off a shot.
Or a shot.
0.5.
You might be able to. It's a lot tougher, especially against Miami. I would personally do a lob to, one of my 7-footers, Brook Lopez,
you could have
or
gotten.
Giannis.
I'm just saying something could have gotten off.
Something.
Regardless, you have
Something.
time with 0.5 to get his jump shot off. If not, you go to you literally run the same exact play. Just say, hey, Spoelstra, great play. We're going to take the same thing, but we're going to use our 6'11 superstar athlete, and he's just going to touch the ball next to the rim and hope that it goes in. That's all you had to do. Just take the same play.
And if you want to say that's irredeemable that he didn't use a timeout, luckily they got overtime, right? And they can kind of redeem themselves there. And what I saw throughout overtime was only on the Bucks, and I love Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday did himself no favors. I don't think he was necessarily scared, but he did miss that foul shot. He seemed to brick everything he shot. Whatever. I saw Brook Lopez giving a shit. I saw Chris Middleton, literally the only one. Him and Brook Lopez were the only two. And Wes Matthews, I'll throw on there. But from their main core, Middleton was the only one out there really trying to get it. Giannis wanted no parts of the ball, wanted no parts of the game. As I'm watching this, I'm having so many different emotions. I'm like,
he had a few layups late because he just got so close to the rim that it was like, we're just going to put this up. He ended with 38 and 20. So, he ended with a really good game. But, when you obviously watch the game, it's like, what?
We talking Giannis?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stats were great.
Giannis ended with 30.
He played great.
He played
up
deep.
until
he played
until crunch time. Up until crunch time. And what it reminded me of, like I said, a few things. One, I was feeling like it was an Eastern Conference Finals game. That's how thick the pressure was. You could feel it at your house.
Yes.
Then what came to me, and we've talked about plenty of times on here how James Harden has no shows in the postseason, but he has no shows in the postseason. I was watching Giannis, and I'm like, and the Bucks crumbling right in front of us, and I'm thinking to myself, this is exactly what it was like years ago when Bron used to go through this. When LeBron was going through his quote-unquote choking stage, this is what it was like. And it was one of those things, like when you're in love, you know when you're in love, right? You don't got to question it, you know. When you know you're seeing a choke job in front of you, because I've seen people talk about, oh, this star choke. No. What Giannis did the other night, what the Bucks did the other night, that was a choke job like I haven't seen in a while. And it was much like the LeBron ones from 10, 13 years ago, because, man, it was really like that.
Game, and then just a few plays late where you're just shied away from, the moment seemed like he didn't want to embrace it.
And we've been so far removed.
The thing about it was,
we've been so far removed from the LeBron ones. He's come so far and away from that. He's had so many great classic games and clutch moments since then. You almost forget about it, but when it was happening, I'm like, oh, holy shit, this is exactly what it was like, a decade plus ago with LeBron. This is exactly what it looked like. And that was before LeBron got a ring. This is Giannis after a ring in a first round game. And they started getting tight.
That's the one part about this that makes it so. If
Weird.
you take out the Bucks 2021 season, this would all make more sense. But when you add in the fact that they had a playoff run, they went to the finals. They're down in the finals. Giannis has one of the greater blocks in NBA history. He puts up a 50 and 12 in a closeout game 6. Like all of that happened. And made foul shots. So you look at everything. So you're like, okay. His question marks going into those seasons because he was coming off of losing to the Heat. So question marks coming into and lost to the Raptors those last 2 years. Okay, so can he make free throws down the stretch? Can he play clutch moments? Is he able to be in the game in the late fourth quarters? Is the moment too big? Answered everything. Then this happened. You're like, wait, what? Also, to me, it's an aberration more so than who Giannis is as a person. But my God, what? It's what was it? And then
aberration.
We haven't even mentioned yet. How does Grayson Allen? Shout out to my guy Grayson Allen, but not right now. What? You don't get a shot off? You don't see the clock? It's right there. Sorry,
it's not even. I don't even blame. Sorry, I don't even blame him.
My bad.
I don't even blame him. I'll get there because adding layers.
I blame 4 people on that play, or 3 people on that play. But go on.
Adding layers to this, though, I mentioned Kevin Love fouls out. Bam fouls out in overtime, or the 4th, I can't remember. And then Kyle Lowry fouls out. That's 3-year top 5. 3-year top 5. So even though this is all in the middle of Milwaukee choking, panicking, losing their shit, everyone but Middleton and Brook Lopez and Wes Matthews, right? It's all in the middle of that. And even still, Miami's just holding it on a platter for them. Milwaukee didn't take it. And then we get a 1-possession game, right? It's a 2. They won by 2, Miami. Course.
Yeah. 20.
And this is
yeah.
And this was the most fireable offense. I would have fired Coach Bud before he even made it to the locker room. I would not have let him into the locker room. I would have fired him. I would have said, find your way out of the arena. We'll send your stuff to you. He has 2 timeouts, Keenan. I've never seen this in my life. He has 2 timeouts. Not 1, Keenan. He has 2 timeouts and at least 10 seconds left. And they dribble out the clock. Once you start going south, once you see your team's getting confused, it's called quick 30. It's called quick 30. You got 2 of them. And he didn't even use 1. They dribbled out the clock.
Absolutely.
I thought it was noteworthy. I believe it was Greg Anthony as the color commentator. Maybe it was Jim Jackson. I don't remember. I just remember them dribbling up the floor.
I think it was Jim Jackson.
And as Giannis is dribbling it up, he's like, they need to give it to Chris Middleton. And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? The best player in the league, formerly, has the ball in his hands, and he's talking about give it to Chris Middleton. And it's true. He was the only one, really, who was equipped to take that shot, right? Boom. Anyway, like you said, they swing the ball. Heat are playing great defense. Ends up in Grayson Allen's hands, and they dribble out the clock. Never seen this in my life with 2 timeouts in your pocket. I just think that's a fireable offense. I can't believe he's still the coach of the team right now. I would have fired him that night. They should be on the phone with Nick Nurse right now. I can't believe. And this is a guy who, Bucks fans desperately wanted fired before they won it. And then he gets cachet because they win it, which is great. Sorry, I'm talking over you here, but I'm fascinated by it because he really is.
You're good.
He really is a stubborn coach.
You're good.
He is a stubborn coach. He has a reputation for being a stubborn coach, but he didn't even try to send a double at Jimmy Butler. We saw the Celtics last night. They doubled Trae Young. He didn't even try to switch the drop coverage. He didn't even try to put pressure on Jimmy. He didn't even use timeouts, as we've said. He didn't. There's a lot he did not do. And like I said, he didn't put someone near the rim on the Jimmy Butler catch. I don't understand it. It's one thing.
He had a lot of questions going. I mean, other than this just championship year, but go on. What's the last thing you're saying?
No. I'm good. I just don't understand. I really don't understand how an NBA coach can make such simple decisions or not make the simple decisions, I should say. It's one thing. This is what I was going to say, actually. It's one thing when it's the shit we can't pick up on, as that maybe NBA players and coaches can. It's one thing when they're not making the adjustments there and maybe we don't catch on and, everyone else sees it. That's at a higher sophistication of basketball. But when it's something everybody at home can see, like 2 timeouts, matchups, not doubling the best player, the only player who can really create their own shot in Miami, that kind of shit, I don't care if you got a ring or not. You got to go home. I would, like I said 2 minutes ago, I would be on the phone with Nick Nurse right now. Like, I can't believe he's still hired. I really can't. I would have fired Coach Bud immediately after the game. Can't believe it.
So there are a few things. Well, one, coaching-wise, I've said the same thing about football, too. If I can do it on Madden or 2K and it makes complete easy sense, then I probably should be able to do it in a game. Like, I am perfectly fine, and I actually like it when coaches allow the players to make last-second decisions and decide not to call a timeout when you've got time. That was actually how Curry hit his big 3. I know there's a lot of situations to where you don't get a set defense, you don't get the best defensive players because sometimes their offensive lineups in preparing for a timeout. That is great. So I'm fine with Giannis taking the ball up with 9.8 and going up the floor. The second he gets double teamed, the ball gets to Chris Middleton and things with 5.5 seconds are chaotic. Here, timeout. Hey, let's call something instead of throwing it to Grayson Allen. And Grayson Allen, buddy, you played for Duke. You have 2 seconds on the clock. At least throw something at the basket. If you miss it, whatever. At least put something up at the basket. Coach K did not teach you that.
I can't blame him because
I promise you that.
I can't blame him because he got the ball.
I'm not blaming him.
He got the ball with maybe 2 seconds left in a chaotic situation where they should have. I would like to think any coach other than Bud, but 9 coaches out of 10 would have called the timeout somewhere in there. I can't blame him for that.
And you're right. I'm not putting the game on it. I'm not putting the game
not
on
the game,
Grayson
but I'm
Allen,
saying.
But what I'm saying is at least get a shot up at the basket because in your mind you should know, okay, things are really getting down. We only got 2 seconds. One dribble, pull up. If you make it, cool. If you miss it, we live with that. But at least get a shot at the rim. You've been playing basketball for a while. That is all I'm saying about Grayson. And I'm a fan of Grayson. I always have been. But
I'll take
you just need to get a shot at the rim. Bud, what are we doing here?
I'll take this time right before we close here.
Go on.
With some quick predictions. I just want to take this time to compare that moment to the late, great Kobe Bryant. Someone like Kobe, someone like LeBron, someone like Carmelo Anthony, just to name some names. If they get the ball in Grayson Allen's situation, yeah, they'll know what to do with it. So that's why I don't blame Grayson Allen, because greater players will know what to do. Now where I want to compare Kobe, I mentioned LeBron with his once upon a time choking episodes in the playoffs, right? Because it happened in pretty much back-to-back years, 2009, 2010, and 2011, all right? 2009, the stats look a little different, but whatever. We're not really
09, I wouldn't give it as much.
He didn't really step on
I was going to say 10, 11, we're going.
He didn't really assert himself the way maybe one Dwayne Wade did. But him and Giannis, and more so Giannis, because this is who we're talking about. This is the game. He didn't want the ball. LeBron used to not want the ball. Kobe, who might not have had the best shooting percentage in the clutch, actually in Game 7, where they won in 2010 against the Celtics, he shot terrible that game. But he was shooting, right? Like, you at least want your best player going down shooting. Gasol kind of saved him. Artest made that 3. But you never had to worry about Kobe being afraid. He would at least shoot the ball, right? And matter of fact, we got on Kobe.
Yep.
Or I should say the NBA world got on Kobe one year when against the Suns he was in a Game 7 and he refused to shoot, being selfish in a different way. You know, he was trying to prove a point in a different way. He didn't even shoot in the second or in the fourth quarter of a game or something like that. Maybe he only attempted 2 shots. And people got
in Game 7 against the Suns, he shot 2 times in the second half.
Okay. And it was all to prove a point.
What happened. He just refused to shoot the ball.
And people got on him because it's like, hey, you didn't even, you didn't even shoot the ball, let alone try, right? And with Giannis, he was scared to shoot the ball. With Harden, he won't even try to shoot the ball. in these moments. That's why I'm very interested to see how this series with the Celtics go, because this is probably Embiid's best chance so far to win. Maybe other than the Atlanta year when they lost to Atlanta. That was probably actually his best chance. But they're going to have a great chance. I think the second round is going to be incredible. That might be the best first round, and we're still in the first round. We still got 2 games tonight. This might be the best quality of first-round basketball I've seen, just from top to bottom. We've got Warriors-Kings game 6
You
tonight.
tell the league's getting deeper.
Yeah, and it was just the matchups that we ended up with. We didn't really end up with any lopsided matchups. Funny enough, one of the ones that was supposed to be kind of lopsided, at least, or somewhat competitive, was Milwaukee-Miami. I think everyone would have said 6 games at the most for that one, especially after Hero went out. Maybe with Hero, everyone goes, okay, 5 or 6 games, competitive, blah, blah, blah. But, top to bottom, aside from the Philly-Brooklyn one, we've had great basketball. And even that one was pretty competitive for a 4-game sweep. But, Celtics pull it out against Atlanta last night. But Memphis versus L.A., going back to L.A., LeBron didn't play the greatest Game 5. Anthony Davis had a pretty good Game 5. Josh showed out. Memphis did what they had to do. What's your prediction for the late game first?
So 2 things before. I want to go through something real quick, but I can do that after. My prediction for tonight is I think the Lakers do pull it out. I believe LeBron has a pretty good game. I think it's going to be more of a fourth quarter LeBron effort. Throughout 3, he's going to try to get everyone else involved, but I do have both games tonight being closed out. So I have the Warriors winning tonight 8, and then I have the Lakers winning tonight afterwards. So by both games ending, both series ending tonight, and then that series I think will be starting on Monday.
Sunday. Or maybe. I think the Game 7s would be Sunday. So I'm not really sure.
Game 7 would be Sunday, so it makes sense if the series would be Sunday or Monday will be the game starting.
Usually they do Game 7 or Game 1. So my guess is they would start Sunday. We got Denver.
So probably Sunday.
We got Denver and Phoenix, a heavyweight matchup starting Saturday night. Philly and Boston, that's a heavyweight matchup.
Yep.
That starts Monday. And then if we get Lakers Warriors, that's a heavyweight matchup. Listen.
And then we got what's up?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have one thing that, because I know you got to get out of here soon. I have one thing I want to quickly run through.
All right.
And I wanted quickly, it's going to be very quick doing so.
Go ahead.
It's about Bucks Heat. Mm-hmm. There's been 6 times ever that the 8 seed has beat the 1 seed. The first time was the Nuggets in 93-94. They beat the Sonics in 5 in a do or die game 7 in overtime. They lost to the Jazz next round. Next one was the Heat in 99. They lost to the Knicks. But that was a lockout season, only 6 games between them record-wise. Next one was the We Believe Warriors lost to the Mavericks. In my opinion, that one's going to be the worst one of all time. Sorry, the We Believe Warriors beat the Mavericks, the 67-15. They had Dirk as an MVP. Then the Grizzlies beat the Spurs. That was the series where Manu hurt his elbow. So that Spurs team was a little hampered, but still, that was the Grindhouse Grizzlies. They beat the Spurs. The year after that, Rose got injured. Game 1, the Sixers beat them. That was Drew Holiday, Andre Iguodala, Evan Turner, and them. And then this one. And that was also a lockout season as well.
I thought the Bulls won that series, no?
No, Bulls, they lost that series in 6. And then the Celtics beat the Sixers in 7, and then they ended up losing to the Heat. Oh, no, wait, sorry, not losing to the Heat, but they beat the Sixers in 7 next round. Yeah, no, they lost to the Heat. What am I talking about? They lost to the Heat afterwards. But my point by saying all of this is, in my opinion, going through those 5, the Mavericks would have been the worst one, and the biggest upset-wise, because they were 67-15, 65 wins is like a pinnacle plus for great, great teams. They had the MVP, and then they lost to that Warriors team. They got hot at the end of the season. They won like 16 of their last 21. And then this one, I know there's only a 14-game gap between, but they were championship-level teams, a championship level with the best player in the world, arguably, which I feel like that title can now be up for grabs.
It's completely up for grabs.
Yeah, up for grabs. And every other series went at least 6. Well, technically, other ones went 5, but that was when there was 5-game series. So it was like, technically, they're game 7s. There was do or die games, or they went 6. This one ended in 5. I understand Giannis was out, but this one ended in 5. This might be the worst one ever. And
I think this is worse than the Mavericks.
There's multiple people who can become the best player. Yeah, I agree. Those would be the two that I'd have right there. I understand the Sonics and Nuggets one would be there too, because that was the year Mike left. So like the league's open, and then the
at
Sonics
least that's a 5-game series.
And then
I'm surprised it didn't happen more in a 5-game series. Yeah. But I guess it'd be easier for the first
I was gonna say that was the first time it had ever happened. I believe it was. They came back from. It also was it was a huge choke job on the Sonics because they were up 2-0 and then they lost the next 3. But anyways, so the Bucks. I think this might be the worst one ever. This one or the Mavericks. I know it's not like prisoner of the moment kind of thing. Like they lost in 5.
That's a big thing. They lost in 5, and they have Giannis and the Heat were banged up. The difference would be
Oladipo and Hero.
I'm gonna be quick here. Here's the one thing, because I remember watching the We Believe series, and like I love that team. Here's the thing: they were a matchup problem for the Mavericks because they went small. They went Nelly ball. Don Nelson being their coach, but they had talent. They had Baron Davis. They had Monte Ellis, Steven Jackson, Al Harrington, Matt Barnes. Like they had quality players, and they were all just speed players. And Baron Davis super underrated. Like Baron Davis can win you a series. He's that good of a point guard, right? So they had enough talent to beat the Mavericks. The Heat don't even have talent. They have no business winning in 5, right? They might as well have swept. They really might as well have swept. Like they had no business winning in 5. If you tell me the Heat win in 6, I'm thinking, like if I never watched the series and you tell me the Heat win in 6, I would have to say Giannis got injured some games, which is what happened this series, and they still won in 5. That's crazy. And even then, I would still say, okay, the Bucks should have won that series. Not watching, but I would think if the Heat were to win this series, it would be in 7 or in an insane game 6 that something crazy had to happen. But no, it was something crazy, but it was game 5, and the Bucks absolutely.
This is terrible. This is terrible. The best player in the. I was about to say best player in the world title is now formally. So I was gonna say Giannis. It is up for grabs, and it's not even the fact that he just lost in the first round. It literally has to do with how he lost. Like when I saw just this, and I just can't be. I mean, and before I'd always say he was the best, like over this last year and a half. But now you've got someone like Jokic. He goes on a deep playoff run. He shows how great he is. Yeah, Embiid, who's going to be the MVP, presumably going to be the MVP. He might go on a deep playoff run now, especially because whoever wins that series probably should get to the finals because they're going to be playing an inferior team regardless. But we saw the Heat play. We see how the Knicks play. You've got Steph, Finals MVP last year, going through this year with this team. He's also up there for grabs. Kevin Durant, if he's able to make this team of 5 get to the finals and win, it's like, okay, is Kevin Durant so there's multiple players that I would say are there, but
yeah, it's open for anybody. It's open for anybody.
I was gonna say,
I don't feel good.
It's really open. I
don't feel great about any team. I'm very excited for the second round. I cannot wait for this Heat Knicks matchup. I'm now eager for that wing of the second round because we knew Philly and Boston was going to be a great series. But now, it was either going to be Knicks Bucks, where I thought it was going to be a 6-game series, a knockdown, drag out, like the Knicks kind of push them kind of thing. But now that it's Knicks Heat, man, I would expect 7 games. It's going to be a great series. It's going to be a throwback to the 2000s.
It's a coin toss series.
I can't wait. Nothing's going to be easy the rest of the way.
It's a coin toss series.
But back to tonight's games. I'm going to roll with – I'm rooting for Game 7. I think I had the Lakers in 7.
Yeah.
I did. So I'm rooting for that. I would lean again towards, like you said, I kind of lean towards the Lakers, especially since LeBron kind of took the night off the other night. I feel like he's going to go for the kill tonight.
Yeah.
But I think the Grizzlies are equipped to at least combat it. They're still missing their size, but they've shown they can beat this Lakers team, especially if they bring the energy early. It's going to be tough. I think you're going to get the Lakers' best shot tonight.
They're going to need a special job tonight to win.
Sure, and he was incredible the other night. So
yeah,
I think they got enough to combat it, but it all depends when these runs come. Because I do think if the Lakers got up early, the Grizzlies could find their way back, but we'll see. I think the Kings, because I thought this series was going 7 as well. I think if this was the case, the Kings would have needed to win in Game 5. So I feel less great about this series going to 7. I really do think the Warriors are going to close it out tonight. But I'm rooting for the Kings. So I'm a Kings fan. I'm a Grizzlies fan tonight. But I do think the Grizzlies-Lakers has a better chance of going 7 than Warriors-Kings. But phenomenal series.
I would agree with that.
And it sucked because I'm watching most of the Warriors-Kings game. It's a great game. I'm watching Bucks Heat on my phone. And then as it gets to 4 minutes, I believe the Warriors game is probably around the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter. I can't really remember, but I'm like, all right, let me put the Heat Bucks on the big screen. And then it never left. So I like the Warriors game, the Warriors Kings game was on my phone, but like the insanity of the Heat Bucks was going on to where I couldn't even pay attention to what was going on in crunch time with the Warriors Kings because of what was going on in Bucks Heat. So thank you for that, NBA. The scheduling has been at times atrocious, but that's going to get better now in the second round. So we'll let it slide. But yeah, I cannot wait. This is going to be a great weekend of basketball starting tonight.
Because I have it split screen. I had a split screen, and I was just locked in on the Heat game, but every time out, I'd be able to watch the Warriors game a little bit, and so I saw like your pivotal moments down the stretch because the Heat game got done, and there was like 2.5 minutes left in the Warriors Kings game. So I was able to watch like the last part like in depth, but throughout the other part, it was just like, what's happening here? And then I tune into Grayson Allen. Like, yeah. But it's great. It's been a great playoff so far. I've loved it.
Say the least. It's been insane.
I mean,
it's been
to
insane.
say the least. I love it. This Heat Knicks season, the Heat or the Knicks are going to be getting to the conference finals. If you would have told me that 2 weeks ago, I would have thought you were crazy.
It's going to be a classic series. We're going to get a lot.
I would have been.
We're going to get plenty more classic moments. We should, barring injury, because we've seen how injury can do. But yeah, no, I think
Pat Riley might come down and coach a game.
Yeah, it's the Pat Riley Bull, Heat and Knicks.
Pat might come. Yeah, he might come down and coach a game. They might get Jeff Van Gundy back too.
We've got to get out of here.
But we need to go. I know.
We've got to get out of here. Keenan, it was great talking to you. Can't wait to review these games from the past or from the upcoming weekend. Warner Brothas Podcast. Like, subscribe, follow, watch on YouTube, follow on IG, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, wherever we're at. Stream, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know where we're at. Peace. Keenan, great talking to you. We're out of here.